The intention of the show is to celebrate Indigenous fashion and Indigenous fashion designers and create a great experience visually and a great experience for the audience as well. There's a lot of misconceptions about Native art, which is what I really value about the fashion show, is the designers provide an alternative expression of Native art. So the designers are not bound by the conventions or what is expected of Native design or what Native dress looks like. The Indigenous voice in this creative expression is not new. It's a matter of the public starting to pay more attention. The reality is that Native fashion has always been around. Original Indigenous design has always been around. Back in the 1800s, pre-contact, maybe you wouldn't call it fashion at the time, but in terms of adding beauty and thought and design, that's been such an integral element to clothing and objects. And of course, that's different for each Indigenous nation, what that means.
I come from beautiful Taos Pueblo. I feel like I'm trying to bring people into that realm of respect of who we were pre-Columbus. We didn't have limits on how we were creative. We were just creative with the resources we have. So I use all kinds of resources to express what's going on around me right now and us. Everything that you see, my hands touch with fine details of either hand-painted, textured, beaded, distressed. I have paper, canvas, I have earth in my collection. There isn't any type of material I don't use. I've dedicated the finale to the missing and murdered Indigenous women. And I had the kids from Taos Pueblo sculpt these paper mache moccasins. And on the bottom of the sole, it says I for Indian, because that's how the cases are filed. That is a huge issue in cold cases. So in this show, I have a really strong political statement to bring awareness to what is happening in our Native cultures. I've always wanted to be able to use my nobility and my fashion to bring awareness.
My name's Jason Brown, and I'm one half of a design team, DeConti & Brown. What we do with fashion is we tell stories of our tribe, of the natural environment where we come from, different tribal legends throughout our work. For example, when our show began, the outfit that first came out was representative of a shooting star, because we have traditions and stories where we came from the stars. There was about 200 feet of LED lights into that cloak. It took me 4 days to make it. Had 33 batteries and 10 battery packs hidden in it. Growing up in Maine within my Penobscot tribe on Indian Island, the women ruled the families. So I've been raised to be very respectful of strong women. I'm married to an incredibly strong woman, Donna DeConti Brown, and they don't get really much stronger than her. We live in a culture where women are taught to be submissive and subservient, and that if you're strong, if you stand your ground, if you're sure of yourself and you're self-confident, then something's wrong with you. That's not how it was in our tradition, and through our fashion, the things that Donna and I create help amplify that power, and it just really brings it right out, and that will always be an honor.
Santa Fe Indian Market Fashion Show is the largest show that I have ever presented to, and I was in New York Fashion Week. My collection this year is called Anadromus, and it's to honor the salmon. It's about rising, just like the salmon rise and swim upstream. It's about the women who go against the current. I come from a very long line of fishermen, so there's a piece of my family in all the work that I did. My dad made the fishing flies that I have within the collection. There's a lot that I use that's traditional indigenous techniques, but I take them and I modernize them into today's world. I think that's one of the most important things about indigenous designers today is that we're taking our own heritage and reinvigorating it into the modern world. I also do a lot of upcycling. I'm very focused in sustainability and using natural fibers that are biodegradable like wool and cotton. Indigenous people make things that are meant to be used. It's not just supposed to be pretty. So taking that into the concept of fashion design is really important today to have a voice in this industry.
I have a series called the Spirit Animals. Everything is hand woven and then I sculpt it. From the time I was in the first grade, I knew I wanted to be an artist. My grandmother and my mother were crocheters, knitters. They used fabric all the time, but it was not art. It was for the home. I am a fine art major and started working on a master's degree in my 30s in painting and sculpture and discovered textiles. That's when light bulbs came on. Fashion. All at once, the two worlds came together because I'd been sewing since I was 3 years old. My grandmother had a needle in my hand. So it was like coming home. It was coming home to what I'd been raised with. Textiles were everywhere. And I've been doing this now for 40 years.
We started Shy Natives because nothing really fit right and it's super expensive to buy women's underwear. We saw a really good opportunity to connect underwear with Native women and empowerment, just feeling beautiful and strong, and that's something that we haven't seen in this world before.
And this industry in fashion needs it. So for the Swaya show this year, we launched our first runway collection and the theme is Plant Mom. It's a theme about taking care of each other, taking care of plants, and we wanted to have a little bit more fun with it. We printed patterns. We worked with an artist named Diego Medina to draw all of the plant women and the plants on the undergarments.
We've got hit with a lot of hard questions. It's controversial what we do, and a lot of natives are told to cover up, and it's over-sexualizing them. Just because you wear sexy underwear, loungewear, whatever it is,
lingerie,
doesn't mean that you're asking for that negative attention that Native American women have gotten throughout history. We can dress like this, we can dress sexy, we can dress however the hell we want, and be treated with respect.
And other people have owned our bodies for so long. So this is our opportunity to reclaim our bodies, reclaim what we wear, present ourselves how we want to be presented.
A lot of my work I like to think of like somebody like my grandma, who is an amazing seamstress. I used to be able to go and hunt her own moose, cut it up, prepare the hide, tan the hide, and make her own things from it. I think that I'm just kind of carrying on that tradition, and what I'm doing isn't quite that different. It's almost like therapy to me. Whatever I'm going through at that moment, whether it's death, birth, or politically, I think as artists, it's our responsibility to be a reflection of what's happening in the current affairs. And I also think the Creator blesses you with a gift. So as long as you honor that, you'll be taken care of. It's medicine. Is really what it is. It's more than fashion. And I like to identify myself as an artist more than a fashion designer.
I would describe the Leslie Hampton brand as edgy and elegant. And we are an evening wear brand who specializes in body positivity and mental health awareness. Feeling healthy, feeling happy with your body and the relationship with your body. This collection has been very kind of reminiscent on what it means to be indigenous on this cultural platform of fashion and design. The clothing may not read indigenous, but it is indigenous because I am indigenous and because the storyline and the concept is coming from an indigenous background. So it's really great to just bring all those aspects to a show focused on indigenous representation and all versions of indigenous representation, and show something that has either not been shown or that is a new way of showing what makes us strong and beautiful and confident as a people.
The fashion shows it's my creative voice, which is putting together creative voices. This is my way of being an artist, and this is why it's so important to me. And with all the stress and everything, I still do it every year.
Being able to represent and letting people know that Native culture design is here, and it's not something that's supposed to be behind a museum or behind glass. It's right here, present today. It's on the runway, and we can speak for ourselves.
My indigenous roots are actually not in America, they're in Taiwan, and I'm a mixed race child. I've met so many wonderful people, and it's only been open arms and welcoming and inclusivity, and I'm meeting all these wonderful women from all over the country. It's only been rich human encounters, and I'm actually very, very grateful for feeling so much like I'm in the family, even though I'm kind of an outsider.
Indigenous Haute Couture has such a place in my heart because I grew up in love with fashion magazines, Vogue, ID, In Style, and I grew up wanting to be a model, be something, because I never saw it, and that was the sad part. I didn't see myself represented, and to be here now and to be in a community of indigenous designers, models, makeup artists, it was a truly visceral, emotional, amazing experience.